everybody. We are back with another episode of the What's Your Hustle podcast. Today I have Andrew with me. Strat Trades. You kind of go by a couple different names. I'll let you kind of formally introduce yourself, and then we'll chop it up.
Yeah, awesome. Andrew from Virginia. Social media handles are Strat_trades. Strat actually came from the Wolf of Wall Street. If you remember, the brokerage firm was called Strat and Oakmont. Not that I'm running any penny stock pump and dump schemes, but it was Strat was just what everyone calls me. So now I go by Andrew or I go by Strat.
Nice. Yeah. And I've heard from other people that when you are in your element with all of your coworkers, I guess would you're more known as Strat than Andrew.
Yeah, it's funny. One of my best buddies in Texas, he was like, it's so weird to hear people call you Andrew, because he's like, I just always call you Strat. That's what I always call you. So he's like, when people call you Andrew, he's like, I do a double take, because I'm like, who's Andrew? And so yeah, a lot of my close friends in the trading world call me Strat, and then my personal friends in real life kind of refer to me as Andrew.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because Sean and I were talking about, I guess you had an event in Texas. He was there. There was a bunch of people around, and it was the opposite, where he's like, I call him Andrew, but everyone's calling him Strat. I don't know.
Exactly.
So it's nice, kind of keep the brand recognition and everything. But that's pretty cool. So let's kind of jump into, so where were you right now? You're obviously full-time stock trading. You run a course. Tell me a little bit about what you're currently doing.
Yeah. So currently we've got Alpine Trading is the community that we're in. It's our Discord community. Currently running an accelerator mentorship. We also have a 101 course. And all this kind of transpired in the last year. Alpine Trading started in July of 2023. Before that, I was building another community. We built that to about 5,000 people. Now Alpine Trading, we've helped over 2,400 people. So we've closing in on that $10,000 number of people that I've been able to kind of help navigate the markets and kind of bring them to light in the stock market. So that's my current, day-to-day right now, is kind of a full-time trader, social media influencer, if you will, even though I use that term lightly because I don't see myself as an influencer. But, being on social media daily and running an online educational platform, I think, influencing and kind of becoming a social media marketer is just, a part of it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. How did you stumble into something like this? That's the question that everybody wants to know, is how do you get into full-time stock trading, and then not even just full-time stock trading, but also now running a group, having that community, like what is?
Yeah. So I think, I've done street interviews with people, and about 9 out of every 10 people that I interview have never been exposed to the stock market. They've never tried to trade. They've never been interested in trading, or maybe they just didn't even know what it was. For me, it all kind of started, my undergrad is in finance. So I'm formally trained in finance. I worked corporate in finance. I got my master's degree in finance. So I'm finance everything, all Excel sheets, Excel models, stock market. That was all, the big thing. But even in college, in my college studies, stock trading was never something that was really taught. It was more just kind of a term that was brought up that they do this on Wall Street. And a lot of the academic world, they talk about long-term investing, right? You buy Tesla at $100 a share, and then you sell it at $300 a share when you retire, and you tell all your friends how much money you made on Tesla. That's typically how people get exposed to the stock market. And that's, typically I would say what the average American's exposure is to the stock market is just in their 401ks or 403bs or whatever long-term retirement accounts they have. For me, when I started out of college at my first corporate job, there was an employee stock purchasing program. And this was kind of like the first dip that I took into the market, because I was like, okay, I'm saving for my retirement in my, 401k, but this company was publicly traded, and there was also an employee stock purchasing program where I could buy company stock at a little bit of a discount, and I was able to sell it or, basically turn it off or turn it back on with every pay cycle when I wanted to. So it's interesting to see where I've came now in my stock trading journey, because if I knew what I know now back then, I could have done some pretty cool things when it comes to technical analysis on the charts and key levels on a chart and things like that, all kind of things that you find yourself digging into once you learn what stock traders really do. But what I was doing was I was actually buying the company stock, and I would see the stock go up, during certain periods. And then when it would go higher, I would basically turn off my stock trading, or not stock trading, but stock purchasing plan. So that wasn't coming out of my paycheck every 2 weeks. And then when the stock fell back down to a nice support level where I thought it could bounce at, I would turn the stock purchasing program back on. So every 2 weeks, I would spend like think at that time it was like $220 every paycheck was going into like this company stock. And so I wasn't necessarily buying and selling, but I was just turning on and off when I was actually purchasing the stock, and I was making sure that I purchased the stock at really good key levels so I had a nice return in a couple months when the stock would, bounce higher. That's really how I got into it. And then from there, I kind of got into trading low float stocks and stocks that people might consider penny stocks, stocks that are around $1 to $5. I never really traded anything that was less than $1, I would say. More so just equity stocks that, maybe pharmaceutical stocks or smaller companies, but never any like blue chip stocks. I never was trading Apple or Tesla, things like that, because at that time I didn't have a lot of money. So I couldn't, if my account was $1,000 and every share of Tesla is, let's say 200, I can only buy 2 shares of it. So I was trading momentum stocks that had the potential to go, 20, 30, 40% in a day. And during the COVID market, everything was going higher. I mean, it just kept running. And so it was awesome. I was making money. I remember there were days when I would wake up and say, I don't think I have to work anymore because I'd made like $5,000 today and I didn't even trade. I just bought something the day before. I woke up and I was up 4,000 or 5,000 and I'm like, okay, I don't have to work anymore.
So at that point, when you see that, right, you you buy at one point, you wake up the next day, are you completely taking everything out, or can you strategically just take profit and leave your original investment? Kind of, I think of it as like betting, right? Mm-hmm. So like you walk into the casino, you have $20, and then you quickly make another 30. So now you have a total of 50. The smart person would take that 20, put it back in their pocket, mm-hmm. and now play kind of with the dealer's money at that point. So is that something that you would kind of do as well?
Yeah, we refer to that as like scaling out of positions when you're up in the stock market. Now at the time, I didn't know what I was doing, right?
That's
I didn't know what I didn't know. So at that time, I was like, I can quit my job and this is easy, right? And everyone across the entire world thought that because we were all stuck at home during the quarantine. And the government was sending people stimulus checks left and right. People didn't know what to do. So it was like, let me just open up a Robinhood account or a Webull account and let me just start investing my money. So now I certainly do that. And that's what we call scaling in and scaling out of positions. So where maybe you take all of your profit out and you leave your initial investment in and just let that continue to ride out for, and try and get as much gain out of that position as you can. But back then, 4 years ago, I really didn't know what I didn't know. So there was a point when the market stopped going straight up and I was like, oh no, I got to figure out how to make money because the market's moving down and I don't know how to make money when the stocks are moving down.
Yeah. It's good when it's good.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's when I fell in love with options trading, because with options, I'm able to buy stocks or buy option contracts on stocks if I think the stock is going to move higher or if I think it's going to move lower. So 2022 was a big down year in the stock market. I think we were down 20, 25%, maybe more than that on the S&P 500. And I was able to make money on all of that move down, even though everyone's 401ks, long-term stock accounts were all coming down. My individual options account was going up because I was able to make money when the stock market moves down. Now we're in a massive bull run right now, thanks to names like NVIDIA and Apple and Google and Microsoft and all of these big tech companies. And I've been able to make a lot of money when the stocks move up. So with options trading, it's really nice because we can make money when the stocks move up and when the stocks move down.
I didn't even know that was a thing, that you can make money in either direction. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a little bit of a misconception with the stock market is, can you like stock, I see it traditionally like, oh, the price of this stock is up, mm-hmm. Right now would be a good time to sell, sell high, buy low, that, the traditional.
Exactly.
Coach Anderson at Shenandoah, he would jokingly rate people like, oh, Wilson's stock is up, if I was doing well, mm-hmm. and like, so that's kind of where the joke, but it's one of those where, I don't think people realize that you can actually position yourself to make money on mm-hmm. stuff decreasing.
Correct.
And having that kind of makes it sound a little bit better, right? Mm-hmm. A little bit easier to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's now you're kind of going in the right direction as far as like, all right, I'm not just making money with mm-hmm. stuff increasing. I'm making money now, both sides of the coin.
Exactly.
Which is good.
I always say, as long as the stocks aren't trading sideways, we can make money.
Yeah.
So if we're moving up, there's a chance for us to make money. If we're moving down, there's a chance for us to make money as well. The key in all of that is making sure that we're prepared every day. And that's what we kind of do in the community, is put together a daily watch list. We do a Sunday market scan every single Sunday night for the market ahead, for the week ahead. And we just make sure that we're well prepared and we know what could happen if certain things take place in the market, right? So if Tesla loses $200 per share, there's a chance that it might fall down to, say, 185, $185 per share. If Tesla gets over 205, there's a chance that Tesla could go all the way to $215 per share. And that range between 205 and 215 is what we want to try and trade as options traders, to be able to trade call option contracts from 205 to 215. And when that happens, sometimes you're able to take, trades and make, 100, 200, 300, even 1,000%. A month ago, I took Apple call options that expired on Friday on a Tuesday. And by Wednesday afternoon, they were up about 6,000%. So there's some unreal gains that can happen. But for anyone watching.
So, I was going to say, what does that look, if I had $20 in that, what does that look? Obviously, simple math, get your calculators out.
Right.
But what does that look like on a percentage wise?
So it just depends on how long you hold those contracts. So for me, my typical size on any position right now is anywhere between, let's call it $4,000 to $10,000 based on, my overall confidence in the trade itself. And I think everyone's trade should be reflective of what their account balance is. I always tell my students that as your account grows, your position sizing is allowed to grow. But if your account shrinks, then you have to make sure you reduce your position sizing as well. At the end of the day, you can make a lot of money with options, but you can also lose a lot as well. And I think a lot of traders that are kind of in the social media marketing scene will never talk about the losers. They'll only tell you about the winners, and they create this false reality.
That's also good sales tactic. I don't know, you never want to talk about the people that don't make it.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it's a realistic thing.
Yeah. And I mean, for anyone listening, like, trading is very, very hard. Like, it's not easy. So for people that come in on day one and they're like, I'm going to be a multimillionaire, by next week, very, very unrealistic. And, for sure, certainly not going to happen. If it does happen, it's based on luck. It's not going to be based on longevity.
Yeah.
I've been doing this since 2020 now. So 4 years of really kind of like nonstop every single day. And you can lose a lot of money in the markets. I think the biggest loss I had was a little over $20,000 in a single day.
Okay.
And I didn't have that money to lose at the time, right? My biggest gain that I had in a day was like $24,000. So it's one of those things where you really have to treat it like a business, and you have to understand what you're doing. And that's why I'm kind of so inclined to teach everyone what I know now, because my goal is really to give people what I wish I had when I first started, to try and make their journey a lot less painful, a lot less costly, a lot less frustrating, stressful, depressing, all of those negative emotions that come into losing money. And I'm sure people listening have seen that, maybe if they've been in a casino, if they've been sports betting, if they've tried the stock market, anything that you've tried, if you've lost money, it's frustrating, and it can take a toll on your relationship, your friendships, everything. So my goal now is to give everyone the blueprint that I wish I had when I first started, to make their journey, number one, a lot more quicker, but then also a lot less painful than what I kind of went through.
That's fair. So it sounds like you might just answer my next question. So you got into stock trading or options trading, and then now you're running a private group, you have a community, you have a course, you have all these different things that deal with, the main part of your business. Mm-hmm. But how did that come apart? Like, how did that come up, right? How did it go from, hey, I'm going to stock trading, to, hey, I'm now going to teach people how to stock trade?
It's interesting how it all happened. I remember I had moved into my new house that I had just built in 2020, end of 2021, sorry, mid 2021 is when that was going on. And I was actually in a stock trading group similar to what I have now. And not because I wanted to follow people, it's just because trading is a very lonely thing to do by yourself. And it's more fun when you're in a group. You can talk to people.
Well, I heard you mention in the past, and just with general knowledge, like, you have call outs, like somebody sees one thing, mm-hmm. you might not see it, but if they, I'm assuming they're just like, hey, in this group, like, hey, check this, check this stock. This is what's going on.
Yeah. There's a better chance to get an opportunity to take a trade when you have multiple people looking at something. And so joining a group, I think, is one of the best things to do, even if it's not my group that anyone joins. Just joining a stock trading group, because you're, within a group of people that are all looking to do the same thing and have the same goals, which is find an opportunity to make some type of money in the stock market. And so I joined this group and was doing pretty well with it. And then I started posting my ideas in the group, just in the general discussion area. started posting my trades because I wasn't taking trades that the main trader was taking. I kind of took trades on my own. And I had an overwhelming interest from other people to basically for me to post the trades that I was taking because I was doing well and they essentially wanted call outs for me. However, I wasn't a pro trader in this, community. I wasn't an admin in the community. I didn't own the community. I was just a
user. It limited your ability to put that information out there.
Right. And as my social media account grew, now, I think I've got about 41,000 followers on Twitter, pushing like 15,000 on Instagram now. I didn't have that back then, but the following was growing a little bit because people saw what I was doing. They liked the content. And I always strive to give value to people. I feel like when you get value, that's when you get compensated in life. So it's not valuable for me just to post, here's how much I made today, but it was valuable for me to post, here's a setup that I'm watching going into this week, and here's how I'm going to trade it. And then following up with it 2 days later and saying, hey, if you liked this content and if you followed it, you could have made X amount of dollars with me because I took this trade. So at that point in time, me and another guy decided to kind of drop out of that group. And we were like, let's start something because we got a lot of people that want us to, share our ideas, but we don't really have a platform to do it. So let's just start something to see what happens. So we started very small. And at the time I was working my corporate job, still. I was trading in the morning, maybe for an hour, 2 hours, and then working my corporate job. It was a work from home. So I had flexibility to be able to trade and, get everything done in my corporate world. And we grew that community over a year and a half to about 5,000 people, which was kind of crazy. The growth that we saw was insane. My social media went crazy from 5,000 followers on Twitter to, I think I hit like 20,000 followers that year. And now I've added another 20,000. So now I'm up to, almost 41,000. And it's been a wild ride. And so in July, I decided that it was time for me to kind of spread my wings and do something on my own.
This is about a year ago.
Yeah, July 2023, about a year ago. I was like, I think I'm ready. I'm kind of, someone that is a natural born leader, I would say. And I like to, provide a lot of value to people. And I was like, it's time for me to kind of do my own thing. And so July 2023, I started Alpine Trading. And since then, we've been on an absolute tear and, well over 2,400 students that we've helped in the community so far.
That's awesome. So it just went from like hey, I'm doing this. You had a couple of people kind of push and be like, I'd like all your information. And then here you are a year later, roughly a year, give or take a couple months. And you're running a full on, and it's on you. So obviously we're going to put all the information down to, if you're interested, to kind of see it all. But I'm assuming it looks like a Discord group. You are in there daily communicating, talking.
Exactly. We do weekly Zoom calls. Discord group is where we kind of chat at, weekly Zoom calls. It's all very intuitive once you kind of get in there and understand what we do. But we're one of the only groups out there that actually live trades every single day. So a lot of these groups and educational groups, and people will find this out, is they'll want you to pay like almost like a gym membership fee to come in to be a part of the community. But then what you're really paying for, what the customers really want, is what they call call outs. They want you to alert them, is what I would say, is, hey, I'm taking this position at this price, and they want to know what you're taking so that if you take a trade that goes 100%, they can join it with you and kind of trade it. I always say that anyone can alert trades and anyone can type them out and then, neglect them whenever they don't work in your favor, or, something bad happens in the market. For us, what makes us different, I think, is the transparency behind our group, is that we live trade every single day. So you hear me on voice every single morning at 9:20, 9:15, 9:20, 15 minutes before the market opens, giving my entire game plan for the day ahead. Actually, I'll grab my phone. Today, in the group, the watch list, I'm going to read this to you, Matt, so you can see it. Just so everyone knows that there's no fluff here.
Yeah.
So today I said, watching QQQ, if we break below a key level of 473.59 today, keep it simple because this is a huge level and likely we can take weekly contracts instead of 0 data expiration contracts. So what I was saying was, I'm watching QQQ, which is the NASDAQ, which is all of the tech stocks put into one. It's an ETF.
Okay.
And I was looking for us to break a key level. You guys can't see it on the screen, but I'll show Matt here, kind of a... We'll add it. Okay.
Yeah, we can.
So you guys might be seeing this now, but a key level here, you could see if we broke down through this level, that's kind of what I was looking for us to fill this gap all the way down. And then what we did was in the trade signal floor, I'm on voice talking about it. But then I say here too, I'm taking Friday QQQ 465 puts at $93 a contract. And then you can see they went all the way to 200% today. And then if we look, I'll show you exactly what we did from a gain perspective. And we did about $2,500 today altogether.
Nice.
So just in one day, working for about an hour, $2,500 so far. It was a little bit higher, but it came back down. So the stock market is it's such a beautiful thing if you know what you're doing and if you're with the right people. I always say that growth becomes much easier when you surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
And people that are losing money in the stock market typically don't have a good mentor. They don't have a good group. They don't have a good community backing them. So when you have all those things together, it becomes so much easier to succeed.
It's like the foundation of a house, right?
Yep.
If you don't have a good, I guess you can really kind of say that with a lot of things, just even partnerships in general, right? If you don't have a good foundation, you don't have a good resource of knowledge,
Exactly.
and you're on the same page, right? It's the same thing. You'll kind of get a little rocky once you kind of build up a little bit. But
100%.
having that education, having that mentor, having that person that, hey, I've done this, and you can see that I've done it because I've been doing, insert anything here, right? For your example, stock trading. Oh, I've seen, and I would be very impressed if you remember every trade you've ever done. But over time, with repetition, you can see trends. I'm assuming you can kind of predict things. That's the name of the game, right?
Right.
But also like having the community to have, multiple sets of eyes looking at different things. I think that's good. And also for people that need to ask questions, and maybe obviously it sounds like you interact with the group. It's not one of those set, forget. You get into the group and you're just kind of like, all right, I'll talk to you later.
Right.
You're interacting, but then also having that community to be able to like, hey, I have this question. You might not answer it, or somebody might get to it before you can get in and answer it. Because obviously, you're doing your thing. You might not be see it right real time, but having the community to kind of have everybody's back and everybody having the same goal of like, hey, we're all in here to make money. We're all in here to do the same thing.
Yep.
And I'm not going to make any less money if you make money, right? I don't want to say it's equal, but it's not going to prevent, like, we're not a competitor. We're all in here for the same reason. So let's help each other.
Right.
Because you can kind of build that. So that's pretty
cool.
I
think our community is great. I mean, when I first started the community, I remember telling some of my closest friends, I was like, if I can just get 10 or 15 people to come over and listen to me live trade, that would be great. I'd love to just trade in front of some people on my own. By the second month, we had about 650 members in the community.
That's awesome.
And now we've got over 1,000, over 1,100. So I think for me, it's kind of become pretty cool because I've seen some of these traders grow up from being just someone in the community that kind of started with us to, becoming a pro trader. Right now we have over 33 pro traders that help me, in addition to a couple admins that kind of help me out. And it's been really cool. I mean, I've seen someone join a masterclass that I did about a year and a half ago, go from there to continuing driving Uber, and then now becoming a pro trader with me over in Alpine. It's been really cool to see the growth of some of these people, and it's pretty special. I think that's the one thing that people kind of forget or people kind of neglect is the feeling that it is for me to really have an impact on someone's life positively, and have the ability or opportunity to impact someone's life positively every single day. It's really hard for me to take vacation, because sometimes people are like, are you going to be on voice today?
Yeah.
Are you going to trade with us today?
Yeah.
And as much as I want to, sometimes when I'm not there in front of my screens, I don't trade on voice because I don't have my full setup. I don't feel comfortable giving, anyone advice, or not advice, but giving anyone kind of my thoughts on the market when I can't see everything. But it's really special to, I get messages all the time. People that we have a guy in the community that paid off his truck in a week. We have another guy that paid off his house on a GameStop trade. We talked about that one before.
Yeah.
So we're doing some really, really cool things, and I'm really excited about the trajectory of where we're going and what we're going to do.
Yeah. No, and that's, again, kind of going back to you not being on every single, right? Obviously your goal is to be on as many as you can, but like you said, vacation, things come up. You have things, whatever. Having that community to kind of have your back is, that's value in itself.
Yeah,
right?
They police themselves. When someone has a question, sometimes I can't even answer the question before a community member will answer the question for them. And it's great. We're just like a family. It sounds cliche. And I know it sounds like sales pitchy because I run the community, but it really is like a family. I've got people that have had to leave the community for a period of time because maybe they had a big project at work and they weren't going to have enough time to really stay in the community. And then they come back and they're like, man, I really missed being here every day, because it becomes the type of community where we'll trade for an hour or 2 hours in the morning. And then the rest of the day, we're not really trading and everyone's just kind of hanging out. So some people in our community, potentially maybe talk to the community members more than they talk to maybe their significant other. So it's one of those things where we threw our first in-person event in Houston, Texas in January of 2024. And that was the first time I met some of the pro traders that I trade with. People in the community. It was the first time they met me in the flesh, and it was really cool because they're so used to hearing my voice come through their AirPods every morning or whatever, but being able to see me in person, it just made it feel so much more real and really solidified the bond that we have as a community.
How many of them said you don't look like the way you sound? I guess if they've seen your picture, they can kind of put it together.
Yeah, they had seen me. I had been doxxed at that point. And so I'd been on social media, but there was, a couple pro traders that showed up that no one had actually seen before. And so that was pretty cool to kind of see the reactions on everyone's face.
Nice. So what's next?
I think, just continuing to lead the way and try to be the best community that we can. Lead by example, lead with transparency, and, lead with dignity is the biggest thing, I think, and just help as many people as we can. I think there's such a huge opportunity for people to join into the market. What we would call, let's say, the total addressable market of traders right now is huge, because like I said, only about 10% of the people that I talk to have actually ever engaged into the stock market. And I'd say less than 3% of those people have actually gone on to try trading full time. So people that are listening now, I'm willing to bet that 9 out of 10 people that are listening probably have never been into the stock market. They think I'm a scammer. They think any stock market thing that's out there is a scam. And there are a lot of scams out there. And that's the one thing that people have to watch out for is, you have to trust the right people. You have to make sure that the person that you're, trusting is authentic, that they're genuine. And I think a quick look through my social media, you'll find that I think that's one of the things that separates me from some of the other traders, is that, I'm not driving around in 18 different supercars. I'm not claiming that I bought a $10 million house cash by the time I was 18. I mean, I see some of these out there on Instagram and TikTok, and I'm just like, how does that work? You were in high school from the last 4 years, and now you bought a $10 million house cash. So I saw one the other day. He said he was 18 and he just he financed a Lamborghini SVJ for, it was $700,000, and he said he didn't have a cosigner. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting, because most places are going to want to see a credit history. So there's a lot of pipe dreams out there.
There are ways, right? If I know there's ways to strategically have somebody kind of on, a kid, if their parents set them up that way. But I'm not saying that's not the case.
Right.
It's very suspicious.
Yeah, it is, especially when they're no cosigner, no guarantor, nothing like that.
Yeah.
So one thing I would say is if someone's selling you a pipe dream and it sounds too good to be true, trust your gut instinct. And I tell people that about me too. If you want to question anything that I do, go ahead. As part of my accelerator group, my mentorship group, all of my students have the ability to see my 1099s from 2023. From my brokerage account, so they can see verified profits of what I've done. Yeah. A lot of traders online won't do that for you, right? They'll show you the big wins, they won't show you the losses, and then at the end of the year, they won't tell you that they lost $500,000 gambling everyone's money away.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing that separates me a little bit, I think. And just be careful. There's also a lot of copy accounts of me that are out there. I get friends that message me all the time, and they're like, "Hey, this new account followed me. It looks like yours." What they'll do is they'll change one little character in my username, and then they'll reach out to people and ask them how their trading's going. And if, they want to join a copy trading program that I have where you can just send them Bitcoin, I will never ask you for money. I will never ask you how your trading's going.
So I think a way to get around that is that you should verify every time you have a DM like that, you have to send them an awkward selfie so they know it's you. So it's just this awkward,
it's super easy. Cause all my accounts are verified, but average people don't look at that. So they're just looking and they see, oh, it's from Strat. They don't click on the profile and see that it's it's an unverified profile, but any message that comes from me is going to be from a verified profile. And I will never ask anyone to trade for them. I will never ask anyone to send me Bitcoin, and I'll never ask anyone how their trading is going. And I don't have a copy trading program. I just teach you how to trade. So don't send anyone any money.
Yeah. All right. Well, you just got my business plan. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So my kind of final question to kind of wrap up everything. Say I'm interested in trading and I don't know a stock from a stack. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I'm very beginner. What's my first step?
I think I would go to my YouTube channel. I've got a lot of good content on the YouTube channel. There's a lot of what I would call surface level content on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
And then from there, there's ways to get into some other stuff, right? So I have a 101 course, which is very, very rudimentary. It kind of tells you what a brokerage account is, how to set up the brokerage account, goes through, it starts at kind of the beginner level, goes to like intermediate level. And then the kind of level after that would be to come into the Discord, into the community, and listen to me live trade every single day. And I think, we talked about this. We have a mutual friend, Sean, who wanted to get into the stock market, kind of came with me to Houston, Texas for the first in-person event. And he said, a lot of what you were talking about was foreign language to me. He's like, I didn't know what you were talking about, what I was looking at, nothing. And from that time until about May, he really just kind of dialed into learning everything and soaking it all up and listening to me every single day in the Discord community live trade. And now he's actively trading. Like, he knows what stocks are. He knows what options are. He knows how to get in, how to get out. And I think his biggest day, he said, not to, blow his cover, but I think his biggest day was like $800 so far in a day. So
I mean, starting out, that's pretty big. Like to kind of have the path. And again, like you said, it's not easy. But it's definitely something where it's like to start out with that, to go from not knowing to getting up to that. $800, for somebody just starting out, that's a good day.
$800 in one day that's a lot of money for anyone, right? I tell anyone, anything more than what you make in your day job is insane money, because all you're doing is looking at charts on a screen and pressing buttons. And so to have the ability to make $2,500 today pressing buttons on a screen, I never could have dreamed of being in that situation back when I first started my corporate gig out of college. I mean, like, to be transparent, my first job out of college, I think I was making close to like $50,000 a year. It was not a lot of money. And it was a lot of money, but compared to what I'm able to do now, it was not a lot. I mean, I think
it was a good starting point.
Yeah.
But obviously you want to.
Exactly. I think my paychecks, once all taxes were taken out and everything, I mean, I was making had to have been under $2,000 a month, I think, or $2,000 a paycheck. So on a monthly basis, I was somewhere around that $4,000, $3,800, per month. And now I did $2,500 in a day. My largest day I did was like $24,000. So, it's been crazy. It's been a wild ride. And one of the things that I've noticed is that early on in my career, I was very focused on money. When I came out of college, I was like, I want to make this amount of money by this age. By 30, I want to be at this. By 35, I want to be at this. By 40, I want to be at this, right? I had all of this kind of, I had like a plan of what I wanted to do. And I had a mentor who, is a multi-millionaire real estate developer early on when I came out of college. And I talked to him, what path did you take to get to where you're at? And understanding him and where his path was, he's like, well, my dad was a builder. I came out of high school. I started helping him, saved a little bit of money. Then I bought 2 bars, ran those bars for a couple of years, took that money and then started my own construction company. Did that for a little bit, and then everyone told me, stop building houses, just build, develop properties and then like lease the properties. And he started doing that, and his net worth took off. So the more I talk to successful people and understand where all these successful people are coming from, the quicker I realize that there is no one set path to success. And when you're an entrepreneur, which I'm sure you can understand, a lot of people call you crazy until it works, and then they call you a genius.
Yeah,
right.
That's exactly.
It's not going to work. And there was a quote I heard from Mr. Beast, right? He said, everyone thinks you're crazy until they think you're a genius when it works. And it really resonated with me because, like I said, I was asking all these successful people, how did you get from here to there? And how can I was looking for a roadmap, right? Start here, then go here, and here. And I'm like, I couldn't find that. It didn't
You're not
work.
going to find, yeah.
And
you're
so
not going to find it.
No, you can't find it. And so for people out there listening, and they think that they're stuck in something or they're scared to take that leap of faith, the one thing I would say is it was terrifying to take that leap of faith into entrepreneurship, but had I not have done that, I wouldn't be able to live the life that I'm living now. And it's been a wild ride. It's not been one that I could have predicted that I'd be here right now. And I don't know where I'll be at a year from now or 6 months from now. But I'm enjoying the ride while I have it. And don't let money be the objective. objective goal in everything that you do. Because my mindset shifted when I was 18. Money was the motivator. Now where I'm at,
I think we can blame Lil Wayne for that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Shout out Weezy.
Yeah.
But like money was my motivator when I was 18, and now like I've made the money, I've bought stupid things, I've done like I've dropped money that I shouldn't have dropped, like just I've done stupid things, right? So I've kind of gotten that out of my system, and now it's like it's not the money that's the motivator, it's just the freedom to live life on your own terms. And that's You'll hear me say that a lot, is that stock trading gives you a freedom that most people don't have. I was done working today, technically working, right? Trading stocks within the first hour of the day. I took one trade. I was not stressed out, and I was done working. I didn't answer any emails. I didn't have to take any PTO time when I wanted to like leave my house at 11 o'clock today to go do whatever I want to do. I'm not on vacation time right now, talking to you.
Yeah.
So it's really one of those things that, when you stop chasing the dollar in life and you start chasing the freedom or, kind of the overall goal of like what's going to make you happy, I think that's when you really start to take off. And I thought money was going to make me happy. And, I've been happy without money. I've been unhappy with money. I've been happy with money too, but like money isn't the thing that's going to make you happy. It's really what your purpose is in life, and, how you're treating other people, what you're doing, and, what you're building. For me, I've always been a builder. I've always had, big goals and big dreams, and it's just fun to do it every single day, to kind of see where you're going to go.
Yeah. Trust me. I got a couple things brewing that we've talked about them.
Yeah.
Same thing. And I mean, we were on the phone, for an hour one afternoon trying to figure out what would be the better play. And just, that's the one cool thing about having a community like yours. But then also having your own network with that is like being able to be like, hey man, is this, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Is this a smooth play? Is this something that, and you even brought up a couple points that like really opened my eyes a little bit. I knew them, but it kind of pushed it over the edge, and just having that, that ability.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think that's super important. Like that's something we should probably talk about, that people out there, everyone wants to try and do things on their own. And I do agree, like doing things on your own is very beneficial because you have complete autonomy to do what you want to do. But I think you have to have a really solid and strong network of people around you to do it. So like for me, I don't think I would have the success that I've had today if it wasn't for the network of people that I gained throughout the whole process. And going back to like, what is the roadmap? What is the successful, to be a millionaire entrepreneur? How do you get there? It's not by cutting people off. It's not by not accepting help from people. It's not by not accepting help from your friends and like, reaching out to your friends. It's using your friends in a way, in a genuine way, to share ideas, to bounce things off of them. And I think for me, like I said, I wouldn't have the success that I had today if it wasn't for my network of friends that I have that got me into the stock market, that introduced me to all these other people. And, it's cliche, but like your network is your net worth. Like if you hang around a bunch of people that are millionaire entrepreneurs and you're not there yet, the chances of you becoming a millionaire entrepreneur is a lot higher than if you're hanging out with people who don't have any ambition in life. They don't take care of themselves from a health perspective. They don't take care of themselves from a financial perspective. They're doing reckless things financially, and they're just not genuinely good people. When you hang around genuinely good people, your life becomes a lot better than where it was, in the past. And so shout out to my friends and, my inner circle. I don't have a big inner circle, but the inner circle that I do have, and they know who they are, they've always been there for me, but they also know that like they can call me anytime and I'm right there for them. So it's a give and take. And I think you can do anything in life with a genuine group of people that support you. Like I said, it becomes a lot easier to do that.
Yeah, no. And I think there's two sayings that come to mind with just what you're talking about. The first one, I am not even take credit for it. I heard it on another podcast. I am a podcast junkie. I love I'll listen to Joe Rogan, depending on who he has on and what they're talking about. The 505 podcast is another one that's more in the videography industry, but they talk about, branding and all this, networking and everything and what it takes, because with a lot of this stuff that's what it is. Like, you have your, what you're focusing on, but a lot of it is building that network. And the one that they said it, and I was like, man, that really kind of resonated, was if you want to go fast, go alone. Right. If you want to go far, go together.
Right.
And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense, because you are not realistically, you're not going to be able to do everything. And you probably have a whole team, right, of everything. And, you know, just how we've got connected,
Right.
of like, hey, everyone has their part that they're going to work on. And then we are going to all work towards the same goal, but focus on our part. And now it's less stressful for everybody. You don't have to worry about doing this and doing that and running this and doing that. You focus on your part. You build your network to where you can trust and rely on the other people to focus on their part. And then you all do it together. And then at the end, it's less stressful. You're probably making a little bit more money.
Yep.
And you're having fun with the people at that close network that you're having.
Exactly.
And the other one, I'll probably completely botch it, is I say it and I'm like, man, that really doesn't sound great. But it's like, I always want to be the dumbest person in the room. Meaning, like, I don't want to be literally the dumbest, but I want to be surrounded by people that have done what I've done, know the network, can network, like, it can give me the knowledge, the experience, you know, the exposure to the process,
right,
and learn from them, right? If you look at your group, and this also might be a Joe Rogan one from another podcast, and your group is people that you don't want to associate, like, from like a professional standpoint, like, maybe you need to rethink your group. And I probably botched that one too. You know,
right.
They're up there, just getting them out. But the idea is, like, don't surround yourself with people that, you know, I don't want to call anybody like lazy or like, it's just like, it's frustrating to do that. And like, there's people that I've come across that, you know, they've been on it. They have a lot of knowledge. And then there's other people where, you know, it just didn't work out. Right. Like, I had a couple people like that I wanted to partner up with, you know, years ago and from the very beginning. And it wasn't like they were bad or people I didn't want to associate with. It was just one of those, like, we didn't vibe. Right. And their mindset was a little bit different than mine. And it was like, I don't think it's a good move. You want to keep that network, keep it close, you know, keep like a hand in poker.
Yeah. I think like my success kind of took off, and kind of like the net worth trajectory really started to skyrocket when I learned how to say no to people. And really be protective of my time. You hear a lot of CEOs talk about, I was protective of my time, and I've learned how to say no. And it's not for a bad reason that I'm telling people no, that I don't want to hang out tonight or I can't do this now. It's just because it doesn't align with what I'm working towards, and they don't have the same vision as me. So I don't think that you need to hang out with people for a transactional like interaction, but you do need to hang out with people that elevate you in some way. And I think it goes back to being, you know, genuine versus being ego driven, right? You have genuine driven people, and then you have ego driven people. Ego-driven people are the people that want to hang out and be the baddest guy, the baddest woman in the room, right? And everyone can be like, hey, look at me. I'm going to beat on my chest. You guys can ask me any questions. I'm the greatest to ever do it, right? And then you have genuine people who are like, I want to be in the room, and I want to meet all of those people, and I want to learn, how did they become successful?
I want to bring them on a podcast.
No. Right, yeah. What do they do? Like, you know, let me learn from them. Let me try and learn something from them. And I think, you know, just networking in general is just so underrated. It's one of the, it's really gotten to me where I'm at. Like, the network, if it wasn't for networking, I don't think I would have gotten to where I'm at today right now. It's funny, when I was going back to my early days of stock trading, I had a mentor who started a stock trading group, and it had about 300,000 people in it. He's now one of my best friends, someone I would consider like a brother. His whole family, I was just on vacation with him last weekend. And he took $10,000 to 18 million. And during that time, you know, I was an onlooker, and I remember messaging him, not fanboying, but more so like, I really appreciate everything that you're doing. Like, I'm learning this, I'm learning that, you know. And then fast forward 2 years later, we continue to kind of talk, you know, on social media, and just in that networking kind of like relationship building, you know, phase. I met him in person. We instantly, you know, clicked, hit it off. And now we're, you know, basically brothers at this point. So
going on vacation together.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, it really is important, the people that you put around you, and you always should, you know, be aware of your surroundings. If you surround yourself with people who, you know, are going to bring you down, there's a chance that, you know, you slip into that trap and you do get brought down with it. The other thing that's really cool is, you know, a lot of people ask me about things that I've purchased, right? Whether it's like jewelry, or I'm big into like watches, I'm big into shoes, and I like cars too. So I got some things I'm kind of looking at. We've talked about the watches before, but this is a story, and you and I actually talked about watches and how, you know, watches can get you into conversations, right? So I was flying to Texas last week, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. And I decided to fly first class because I had, like, you know, United Flyer miles, and I had an opportunity. I was like, you know, I'm going to fly first class. It's an early morning flight. I'm going to have a few mimosas. I'm going to get breakfast, And so I sit down and I had on, it wasn't this watch. It was my favorite Rolex that I have. It's the Yachtmaster watch. It's a black band with kind of a rose gold bezel. And I sat down and I'm minding my own business. I have my headphones in and this guy sits down next to me. He's like, I'm here. And I was like, okay, it's fine. You sit down. And I hear him say something and I, take out my earpod and I was like, what did you say? And he's like, oh, nice watch. And I was like, oh, thanks. I appreciate it. I looked at his watch and he had an AP on, which was probably like 45, 50,000. So a little more expensive than mine. And I was
I would.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, that's shiny.
Yeah. So I was like, wow. I was like, you got a nice watch too. And so we instantly just hit it off and started talking, right? Started networking in a sense. And I don't say networking is like going in for the kill, like, oh, what do you do? How, more so like, how'd you get into watches? What do you like? And then he's like, well, what watch do you want? And I said, I really want to get this Sky Dweller watch. I want a Sky Dweller, but I don't want to spend $60,000 on a watch right now. And I was like, I just think they're so nice and I just love them. And he's like, I have one. He's like, you're talking about this one? He pulls out of his backpack and it wasn't the one, but it was a champagne fluted bezel Sky Dweller. He had just got it. And I was like, yes. I was like, that watch is amazing. And so we just kind of hit it off. And, come to find out, he was like, what do you do for a living? I told him he runs a $600 million monetary fund. So he's out of Great Falls, Virginia. And his wife is a government contractor in DC. She owns her own company. He owns his own company. He was flying to their private villa in Puerto Vallarta. We hit it off, exchanged numbers, and now we're supposed to go out and have a drink. So all that to say, that one watch and just that one upgrade into first class opened up an entire new avenue for me in someone that is not necessarily a business partner, but more so a friend. I mean, we connected as like friends and got off the plane. Gave him a handshake and he was like, let's link up when you're back in town. Told him the same thing. And so it's like now just that $200 upgrade into first class on United and having, a nice watch on, he saw that, oh, this guy appreciates nice watches. I do too. Let me introduce myself. And from there, but that's just one example of networking and how, just one upgrade into first class opened up an entire door to someone who.
And I would almost guarantee that those will kind of pop up along the way. Mm-hmm. And it could turn out to, hey, we're going to grab a drink, talk a little bit more, maybe talk a little bit business and nothing pans out to it. But I mean, some of them like could turn into something
100%.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I tell people too, never judge a book by its cover. You never know, what someone does, what someone can do for you, what you can do for them. And I'm not saying on a transactional monetary basis, but someone might have such an intelligent brain and you write them off because they're not wearing shoes that you like, or they're not wearing clothes that you like or whatever. Right. But there's so many talented people out there that really building a strong team around you and just having genuinely good people around you means more than having hundreds of thousands of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars around you too.
Yeah.
So yeah, never write someone off until you hear their story, you understand what they do. And a lot of times, what I found is that there's a lot of value that's brought back to me when I try and help someone. Hey, I'm not asking for anything, but I'm going to help you. Like I can provide some value to you. And then you do that to them. And it's like, hey, Andrew Strat helped me out. Like I'm going to help him out with something now. And so it's just a reciprocity agreement almost where it's like, I help you, you help me. And at the end of the day, we're all here to get better, grow, and win and succeed.
Yeah, that's, that you even from, so, we obviously, our videography, I do a little bit of marketing help and everything. And so for social media marketing, and because you do it and you have your team and it's one of those where, you provide the value, right? But you shouldn't expect anything in return, right? It shouldn't be like, hey, I'm doing this, but you quickly have to get an ROI on it. Right. Yes, those are nice. Those are good for certain situations. But the idea is, and Alex Hormozy talks about it a lot, is give, right? That he literally says it just like that. Give, and then maybe ask at the end. Right. A lot of people, unless you're a higher end, like even like talking about, so like the feed on Facebook, right? You'll see an ad every couple posts because they know what you're there for. You want to connect, but they want to add some, that asking, right? The sale throughout. So it's like one every 3 or 4 posts, you'll see an ad pop up, right? Because they have the ability to do that because of I mean, they're a $1 zillion company or whatever it is. Right. But for like, taking it on the social media marketing side, right. And even just with networking as well, is you want to give. Like that ratio of give to ask for a sale ratio should be heavy on the giving side, because then it'll naturally push people to want to give back, AKA buy what you're selling, invest with you.
Or even just, hit the follow button, right? A lot of people are like, how do I grow my social media account? It's like, provide value to people. When you provide value, they're going to follow you because they think that they're getting value, or they are getting value out of whatever you're posting, whether it's humor, education, information, whatever it is. But it's like, if you provide value to people, they're going to hit the follow button. They're going to share your post. They're going to maybe purchase whatever it is that you're offering. If you're a retailer and you're selling some type of retail item on e-commerce, like if you provide value to people and people want to use that, they're going to buy it from you. And I tell people all the time, when it comes to like creating value is, it's really, going back to my college days, one of my favorite professors in finance, one of the questions he asked us on the first day of class was, how do you measure how much value a company provides to someone? And we all kind of like looked at each other because we're like, this is a trick question. Like, we know how financial statements work, but and he's like, it's simple. You take the revenue and you subtract out the cost of goods sold, and the gross profit is how much value someone provides to someone, right? That's, in theory, that's the value, right?
Yeah.
I buy a widget for $10, but I sell it for $20. The value I just created for my company is $10 because I made $10 off that. So when you think about expanding in life and becoming bigger and, getting more followers, getting more customers, growing your revenue, growing your profits, whatever it is that you want to do, it all comes back to creating value. And when you create value, everything's going to elevate. So I tell people all the time, I go back and talk to my university every year. I talk to the freshman class, the business class that comes in, and I tell them every year, you don't have to follow a certain path. You don't have to, go get your undergrad and then go get your master's degree. And I'm actually going to be speaking to a middle school this fall about this as well.
Nice.
And I'm going to tell them, like, you don't have to go to college anymore. For years it was, you have to get your bachelor's degree. You have to do this. You have to do that. At the end of the day, I'll be the first one to tell you, and I'm someone that has my master's and my undergrad. You have to do something in life that provides value for someone else. And if you do that, you're going to make a lot of money, right? If you're an auto mechanic and you're one of the best auto mechanics out there, and you provide value, maybe in the form of you get cars turned back over to the owners very quickly, you can source the parts very cheaply, and you're just very good at what you do, that's a value add to someone's life that doesn't know how to, fix their car. What are you going to get in return for that? You're going to get paid handsomely for doing that because you're valuable, in what you do. If you're a hairstylist and you're one of the best ones out there, people are going to find value in you. They're going to come to you, pay you, and you're going to make money off that. So you don't have to go to college. You don't have to get a certification, but you have to do something that people find value in. For me, people find value in the fact that I can teach them how to make money in the stock market, right? People find value in you because you can help them get their social media, up and running. You can help them with video marketing, video editing, all things multimedia, right? That's the value that you bring. And so I think a lot of people just forget that simple equation. It's like, what can I do in life to make money? It's like, well, what can you do to provide value to someone?
Yeah.
If you speak 2 languages, that's valuable. Someone's going to pay to be able to
And it
translate.
might be one of the first episodes I had of the podcast. It could be anything. It could be, there's somebody, you might have seen him on social media. He made like a multi-million-dollar company out of like cleaning shoes, like something very simple, but then it's scaled to now taking care of a higher quality shoes, right? Into the more expensive, brands and everything. But it all started from, he was just doing it just because he was cleaning his own.
Right.
And then his buddy was like, oh, that you did a great job. I want to clean, can you clean my, you're providing the value.
Yep.
Right. And the other part of it is, especially going kind of back to the social media thing, is I almost want to extend the statement as provide value, but provide value and don't expect anything in return right away. Like that's the biggest thing, is you can provide the value, but you almost like cancel it out once you provide the value and then go, okay, yeah, where's,
right.
And you're immediately putting your hand out right after, right? Provide the value, don't ask for anything in return, keep the value going, right? Eventually it will work. The problem is that people want it right now. They want to go viral right now. They want their customers start flooding it right now. It doesn't work that way. You got to get out there. But the other part of it is like, find what you do that provides value. Get as close to perfect as you can, or do the best you can, the most honest way, and then let that speak for itself.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what people have to do. You just have to remember, like, try and be the best at what you do, provide the most value, and bring some type of skill set to the table that people want to pay for. And if you have a skill set that people want, they will pay you for it, and you will make a lot of money in this lifetime of yours. But if you have the woe is me mindset of, oh, I didn't go to college, I don't know how to do that, I don't know, you really have to think to your core of like, what do you enjoy doing, right? If you didn't go to college, maybe you feel like you're stuck in a job. What do you like doing? Some people love going to the gym every day, and they're gym rats. They absolutely love it. You could get into personal training. You could get into, nutrition regimens, things like that, workout regimens. You could, be an online fitness coach. You could be an in-person fitness coach. There's so many different things.
Options.
Yeah. And that's what people it's so crazy to me that people are like, I can't do this. I can't do that, especially in 2024. Like, there's so many avenues to go down now. But I'm not going to lie, like, it is scary because it's like, I've never done it before. I don't know how to do this. And that goes back to the network, right? Having that strong network, that strong group of friends that support you. Again, like Mr. B said, everyone's going to call you crazy until you do it and it works. And then they want to get in on it, right? Or they call you a genius. I've had people doubt me from the beginning on stock trading. And then after I did it, it's like, oh, do you have a position that I can work for you in? Or do you have this? And I'm like, wait a second. You called me crazy for doing this in the beginning. And now you're coming back. You want me to pay you to come on and help my team, or you want me just to help you for free? So it's crazy. That's the one thing with success is, you got to watch out for the snakes that are in the bushes too, because everyone's going to have them. But I think that, again, goes back to everything comes back to your network and your relationship and your circle of people. When you have genuine people around you, it's a lot easier to kind of spot those, we'll call them intruders into your network that are just coming in to use you for something, for their own personal gain.
Yeah.
But it's 2024, as long as you provide value and you have a really strong skill set of something, you should be able to make, a handsome amount of money in your lifetime moving forward. Yeah.
No, I couldn't have said it better myself. All right. I think I've taken more than enough of your time. No, I think it was a good conversation. I think we got a good, that in itself could be, put out there and let people, but I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone has any questions about stock trading, Strat_trades on Instagram, best way to reach me. Check out the YouTube. Matt does a lot of work on the YouTube, so shout out to Matt. And hopefully everyone got some value out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and we'll definitely, everything's going to be linked below. We'll drive traffic, get as many people we can to kind of see all the stuff and get to your page. Go check it out. I also know you kind of have a couple of things coming up that are going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a few things in the works that haven't been made public yet.
Yeah,
so
no spoilers. Yeah. No spoilers, but if there's a time, like just we started,
exactly.
Buy low, sell high.
Exactly.
Start buying.
Yeah. Exactly.
So no, I appreciate it.
All right.
All right, guys. I think we're good.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. See you guys next time.